August. The date for the cash reserves is actually the 30th of July, and she's at $2,000. I don't know where that money.
2,000?
Well, 1,967, you round up to $2,000. I don't know where that money went, and I'm very uneasy about where that money went. There was a big error found with solid waste that was part of the switchover from CSA to Black Mountain. There was some kind of a computer glitch, the money's still there, but it didn't transfer in dollars. The auditors found that. I've asked Debbie to have them take an extra look at public safety to see if maybe the same kind of error happened, and that there is money that found itself in another fund that needs to be put back into public safety. I'm hoping that's the case.
We can sure hope on that one.
Yeah, so that's where we're at on this. What I would ask of you guys is, we've all had the same paperwork, we've all had the same opportunity, we've all had the same trainings with the budget. What I'm gonna ask is, if you don't like any of the suggestions, I think it's only respectful to come back with an argument, a counter offer, but not just a no. So that's the first order of business we need to talk about. And then the other one is, if you take your tax levy requirement sheets and you go back to the mill sheets that Debbie did for us, one of the things that we have this year is an increase in mills. We got an increase due to inflation of 2.66 mills, and we did not mill half a mill last year in error. So we have 3.12 mills. I think it's 3.12. I don't know that math. So it's 2.66 plus 3.1 is 0.66 plus 0.5 is 3.16 mils additional. So
When do you
This
propose using it?
what I
You better
propose
use that for
doing,
for the public safety. That's seems
no,
to be the biggest funding problem here.
that's a funding problem, but do you address a problem by chasing a tail, or do you address a problem by finding a solution? I propose we look at the solution. And here's one proposal, and we can debate this. Just throwing money at Brenda isn't enough. She has got to make some managerial changes because she's sinking her department. So, one of the things Wynn has talked to us about, just last time he visited with us and multiple times before that, it is a matter of study, it is a fact across the board. When your economy goes down, your crime rate goes up. Drug use goes up, family and partner member assault goes up, abuse on children goes up, DUIs go up, fatalities go up. It's a never-ending cycle. So the best thing that we can do for the budget of Broadwater County is to get our economy up. We also know from when Harold was here, when you have 10 homes and each one is paying $100 in taxes, and you have another new home come in or business, that $100 is spread out between everybody. That $1,000 actually is spread out between everybody, and now each homeowner is paying $90 in taxes. He had the spreadsheet, he had the illustration of this. I didn't bring it with me. It's common sense when you think about it. Your values go up, your individual tax payments go down. So, what I would propose is, in the past, we have used PILT to fund our dues required by MBAC, which is our economic development arm. It is a reduction, but I would like to propose 1 mil to go to MBAC versus PILT. By law, we're allowed 2 mills for economic development. What I would also like to do is take 1.5 mills and split that annually between BCDC, which would be 0.7 mills, so it'd be 1.7 total for economic development, and 0.75 mills to our new Department of Community Development. Planning is one of those funds that she's been holding her own. She's writing grants, she's finding other alternative sources of funding, but she's not gonna be able to maintain this for long. This is happening to counties all across the state. We know this from Mako.
Okay,
So-
what is that? You had 1 mil to impact, would you have
1.5
1.5
to
to,
be split between BCDC and community development. And then 0.02 to go to the hospital district, because we voted the other day that they were milled 2.42 mills last year, but for some reason the formula took them down to 2.4. So if we gave them at this point 0.02 mills, which is really about $235, that just takes them up to 2.42 mills. We still have some left over, and I would propose either using that for just not levying it, and using it for health insurance next year or where it's needed. If you look at those totals times 13,398, which is the cost of a mill this year, it's only $42,000. It is not enough to help public safety. We gave her $250,000 from PILT last year. We found the $317,000 at the end of the year. By just throwing more money is not gonna solve the problem. She is going to have to be where she's at, where she's put herself, and she's gonna have to come to us or figure out some way to fix her department. And just throwing money at her hasn't helped, and I don't believe it's going to help. So I think this is a tough love moment for us.
When will the auditors be able to really look at that to see if the missing money got put someplace else and not?
Hopefully today. They know what they're looking for because they found it with solid waste, so hopefully today. Other than that, I think we've gotta do some kind of an audit to find it. We need to find where that money went. That we are looking at not even $2,000 in that cash account right now, just baffles me to no end.
Oh, it's pretty darn fast.
I suggest we talk to Brenda,
I think we
call her
do.
anytime, and, see what she has to say on this before we go any farther.
I think we definitely need to talk to Brenda, but again, we need to know where the budget's at before we start making any decisions.
Well, that's
So
why
that
we have
we-
to talk to her.
Don't interrupt, please. Unless you have something substantive to
Isn't that
add.
right? That's why we gotta talk to her?
Do you have a firm understanding of where you're at on the whole budget here, Franklin? Because there's a lot of little pieces here. Have you done your homework on that? If not, then let's go ahead and stay on track so that we know what we're doing when we get to that point. We haven't made any solid decisions yet on anything. You need to understand the overview.
Where did they find some of this money?
An error in the transfer from CESA to Black Mountain. And again, it sounds like it was a glitch and it went into another fund that it didn't belong in. In looking at that, they realized it belongs here. Let's see. Oh, we have also potentially three retirees retiring this year, so we're going to have a payout for them. I think Debbie has a fund. I don't know if it's fully funded for the three. They have quite a bit built up, so we'll have to look at that.
Linda Campbell, who else?
Michelle just sent us a letter, and then the third one hasn't sent us a letter yet, so I'm not gonna say anything. Not at a public meeting, but I'll be happy to share that with you through the correct channels. Then we need to, probably at the end, I'm thinking, but I'm open, is talk about longevity. And that's it. So I guess we are through with the budget, unless you guys have any questions before we do start talking to. We have a couple of market adjustments, we have the detective, and then we do need to talk to Brenda about her total. So, am I missing anything? Anything more you guys want to bring up?
I don't think so.
All right.
What is the detective gonna cost?
He's asked for 70 grand, but he gave us paperwork that said 66,000. My suggestion is that it needs to be found in the budget, because that's what everybody else is doing. If they want the county to help pay for it, there needs to be a proposal of how we do that. And either a third or a half needs to come from the city. A third, it would be my suggestion, because a third of our population is in the city. But Wynn told us at the meeting where he proposed this that probably half of the work would be in the city. So, third to a half. The rest of it is the detention center, is the funding mechanism for those kinds of additions to the public safety budget. We're suggesting 200,000, that more than offsets it. The difference in overtime and whatever areas, a detective opens up some grant opportunities, that's gonna be up to Brenda in her management role to find that. So, 66 for starters.
Well, all I can say is thank God for the detention center.
That's exactly right, and it does put some more pressure on whoever the new administrator is. They can't fall down on that job like was done a couple years ago. That was another year of 350 grand that went to that department to save the detention center because it wasn't being marketed. So, this, yeah, you're right, thank goodness for the detention center, but I think dropping those grants was really a horrible idea.
Is that somebody, can she appoint somebody? One of the cops to do that?
No, but she can hire them, and they started that. That's what Wynn was talking to us about an hour ago. They have advertised in-house. He has somebody in mind that he thinks is going to apply. He'll go through the process, the interviews. The person who floats to the top will be offered the position. If nobody floats to the top, then they do have authority from this commission to advertise out of house. So it's probably one of the most important jobs in that department, in the public safety realm, is the detention center administrator. And there's a lot of grants there as well. There are so many opportunities, but if that isn't a route they want to go, they need to start the process with the public or start another process. But it's not our call. It's Brenda's as the sheriff. So that's the overview, unless there's any more questions. So,
How much is in Pilt today?
oh gosh, I don't know, I don't have a pilt sheet. We usually do pilt after, and I didn't want to have it as part of the budget, so I didn't look at pilt at all. Again, with the interest of living within our means, I firmly believe that pilt should not be used to balance the budget. It is my opinion, and only mine, I'm 1/3, that pilt should be used for unforeseen expenses and capital expenditures, and has been used to bail out public safety in the past. We need to get away from that.
What are you gonna do if Pilt, God forbid, ceases?
And you've used it to balance your budget, you're in
That's
a
right.
world of hurt.
You
Yeah.
can't do it, you just can't do it.
No,
I feel for those counties that do, because
yeah.
they're gonna find themselves in a world of hurt someday.
I haven't found another county commissioner that uses pill like we do. That was started by our predecessors, and I'm very, very proud of what they started for us. But I'm not comfortable going there at
Well,
all.
I mean, like some counties you hear, they funded the whole raise that they gave their people on Pilt.
Yeah,
Well, that was very nice, however,
exactly. When do you pay the piper? And, you heard Representative Zinke's representative, Jeremy, that was here. He said, Pilt's never going away. I believe him. You talk to Harold Blatty and he'll say there's too much work being done, there's too many people vested. 1,199 counties that rely on Pilt, every state in the union. But that's not to say it couldn't happen, and to plan on it just doesn't seem smart to me.
It makes sense to work around it.
I agree, I agree,
Dance around it like it's not there.
yeah, yeah. So, we do have some decisions we need to make, but I do agree with Franklin. I think we need to hear from, Brenda. I think everybody else, we can go ahead and make our decisions on if they wanna come in and listen in, we certainly can. Speaking of the market adjustments and that's it, I think. And then, of course, the health insurance, if we decide on another plan, we'll have to talk to the county compensation board.
A different plan away from Teamsters?
No, if we decide on a plan other than doing with this year what has already been agreed to by the county compensation board until July 1st, and then July 1st, passing on to the employees what the increase is for next year, including what an increase might be in the formula for the permissive. So, that's all I have.
I take a 15-20 minute break for lunch and get the, Brenda, see if Brenda can be here. Or just keep right on going if she could be here now.
I would almost say if she could be here now, it'd be great to just kind of get to a point where we have some information and then take a break, mull it over, and come back and make decisions. Again, that's just me.
I guess you do a phone call, see where she's at, if she can get here. Pretty quick notice from.
Well, actually, it's not. They've been advised that we were
Use
doing,
Val's
excuse me.
phone.
Franklin, they've been advised we were doing this, so they've had a heads up. There's no surprise. Overall, I do think the budget looks pretty good. Sure. It's never easy, and it's always